2 days away from the defending champs getting back on the floor, embarking on a potential title defense. Kim Mulkey, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Coach, it's always our pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, bud?
I'm awesome. We appreciate the time. Can we just start just with just a few box checking things? This week, I would imagine, coming off the SC tournament, having some time off had to be so good for your team. What was the schedule like this week?
Well, we took the first 2 or 3 days off, and that's for a lot of reasons. One, mentally and physically, we had to regroup. We had, of course, Poa's situation and Angel's ankle, and then Williams, she's doing good, but, the more rest, the better. And then we started back on Thursday and just getting after it. And then, after this past, weekend, we get into this week, and so we start working on different teams now that we know the schedule after the selection show Sunday.
Could you give us just an injury update on the three players that you just mentioned there with Angel, Michaela, and with last year?
Yeah, Polo was in practice this morning, and we didn't go long. We did a lot of shooting drills. We went real early this morning at 6:30, and she was cleared to go and participated. Michaela's been cleared since the conference tournament. That championship game, I could only play her so many minutes, but she's been cleared to practice. And then Angel's ankle, of course, with any sprained ankle, you get better along the way, and she's doing good. So we've got everybody in practice and just working on who we think we'll see next and what we have to do to be successful and win the next ball game.
Coach, how difficult was it for Angel? She's before the game, she's getting off the bus in a boot. She takes off the boot and goes and plays. It's incredible resilience. But can you speak to just how tough or how limited she was?
I'd ask a trainer. There's different degrees of ankle sprains. You got the high ankle sprain, and that's probably the worst. She doesn't have any of that. There's different, pain tolerance. Angel was fine. It wasn't like she was playing in unbearable pain. Obviously, when you sprain an ankle, it can be mild and still hurt you. But being in the boot was just, I think that's just what they do now, instead of using crutches to keep you off of it and keep it from swelling. But, it wasn't like she, couldn't play. It wasn't like it was that kind of degree of sprain, but just, typical Angel, just a tweak enough to just irritate you.
Kim Mulkey's with us. I remember when Terrio was in here with us on one Friday before the season, we talked to you, and you told us, guys, we're not going to have any trouble scoring the ball, but I got to find out who my point guard's going to be. And, I've heard you talk about the job that Haley has done this year, changing positions, and how you wish you had more time with her to continue to teach her the spot. But when you look back now in hindsight from when she started that transition to where she is now, how would you sort of quantify the progress that she's made at that position this year?
Well, I think Haley, like a lot of players, probably has played point guard in high school, but this isn't high school anymore. You got to define your position and your skill set at that position, and to ask her to help us at the point guard was very unselfish of her to do, but also she understood it would make us a better team. Now, what has helped Haley is last year Poa. When Poa is at her best, she needs to be at the point, and then you can move Haley to her natural position, which is the off guard, and it allows her to shoot it and not have to think and not have to handle the ball. And, that point guard position is brutal. It's like a quarterback. You've got to make split-second decisions. You have to, know everybody's position on the floor, where they're supposed to be, and you don't have to do that at other positions. So if Poa can continue to play like she has been, it will help Haley not have to play the point by herself.
I saw whenever the selection show popped up, everyone had Haley Van Lit's reaction when you saw that the Louisville was coming to Baton Rouge as well. I know you're not looking ahead to it at all, but what is your reaction if we do end up getting that matchup? You were sitting right next to Haley when all that popped up on the screen.
Well, for obvious reasons. It would have been like if Maryland had popped up there or Baylor had popped up there. There are a lot of us, or DePaul, or
sure.
You can take any that any of us were at previously, and we'd all just laugh. And, and about the matchup. Haley is a competitor. Haley knows her strengths and weaknesses, and she will have somewhat of an advantage in probably knowing more about Louisville in a scouting report than other teams. But, Haley just wants to win, and we will help her when and if that situation occurs where we play each other. And, sometimes it's more pressure on you. Sometimes it brings out the best in you. Who knows? But what I do is just try to make sure Haley is prepared, and I know she will work and be prepared for whatever happens.
Well, before you ever get to a potential matchup with Louisville, you got to beat Rice. Can you give us the thumbnail scouting report on the Owls?
I can. First of all, I'm very proud to say that two of my former managers are assistant coaches for Rice. I didn't say players, I said managers, so
Right.
that just tells you how old I'm getting. And also Middle Tennessee, who will be here, one of my former All-Americans at Baylor is one of their assistant coaches. So it's going to kind of be a reunion of sorts, and we're going to kind of all be competing against each other, but I'm very proud of those people. Rice had to win the conference tournament to get in the NCAA tournament. They did, and you're going to see a very well-coached team. You're going to see man-to-man. I say you're going to see it. Obviously, in the playoffs, they can change, but they're probably 85% man-to-man. You'll see an occasional 1-3-1 thrown at you with trapping on the baseline. You're going to see young people that are excited because they're in the NCAA tournament, and nobody probably predicted them to win their conference tournament.
Kim Mulkey, for a couple more minutes. When I look at your career, and I know you're going to say it's not about you, but ever since you've been a coach, you've never missed the tournament from the first time you made it at Baylor. And ever since that first year, you've always advanced past the first round. We know you've won this thing 4 times, and you're a Hall of Famer, and everybody knows that. Why are you so good in this tournament?
Well, I think I probably have been beaten in the first round. I'd have to think back. Maybe that first year at Baylor, we lost to Arkansas in Cameron Indoor Stadium, but, man, we were sure excited to take a program that had only won 7 games the previous year to, the biggest turnaround at that time in the history of basketball. And then to think I did it here as well, that's just proud moments. That's kids buying into your beliefs and what you're trying to do. And when I look back on my career, there are going to be so many things that I think of that really don't have national championship written by it. It's just going to be those first teams. It's going to be that team at LSU that stayed here and waited for me to come and coach them. And there's just a lot of things that the normal person or the normal fan or the normal media person doesn't really think about that mean the most to coaches. And I've been doing it a while. And I always tell people don't take it for granted and enjoy it. It may not last forever, but we're going to fight hard. And it's the same way with this team. We're going to fight hard. And I firmly believe if somebody beats us, they're going to have to play their best basketball, and they're going to have to be tough because we're going to bring it.
Kim Mulkey, Coach, I know my buddy Michael Anderson got you those custom Nikes with part of the basketball from the championship game and part of the net as well. You rock those things yet?
I will never put those on my body because they're too special.
Okay.
Those will sit in my office. They sit atop the national championship balls. And I have one facing forward and one back because he put some really special words on the back of them that says, "This is what I came home to do," and that was win a national championship. That means a lot to me. And then, of course, you also want to display it with a championship net that he intertwined within the shoelaces. But also, he took one of the balls from the Final Four and he cut it up and made the swoosh emblem or whatever it was. And so that young man is very talented, and he would caught me off guard. I was in the conference room, and I think my assistants knew he was coming, and he introduced himself, and it was just one of those moments where, wow.
I just want to know how he got that ball. Who gave him the ball to cut it up?
Well, my guess is that with 10 assistants, somebody got a championship ball, and I don't know how many they give us. honestly. After you finish the Final Four, I'm sure a certain number of championship balls are sent to you. And he probably told one of the assistants what he was going to do, and they gave it to him. But I don't know. I'm just assuming that.
Well, it turned out awesome. Great keepsake you'll have forever, and hopefully there's many more to come. Kim Mulkey, Coach, good luck on Friday and throughout this tournament. We'll be watching.
Thank you, buddy.